Hello and welcome to Cuppa with Cake Boi. With me, Cake Boi. I'm a disco dancing, Oscar Wilde reading Streisand ticket holding friend of Dorothy's. But enough about me. I'm here to talk with some fantastic people about their journeys over the past year online and how they've been finding lockdown. Today's guest is none other than Yvy Deluca, aka the Bollywitch. Author, drag artist, and full-time witch, Yvy has amassed a following over the past year from her digital drag performances. As the Bollywitch, Yvy draws on aesthetics of horror and the Bollywood genre to create exciting and fresh digital drag performances. Having competed in Lestrange's drag Macabre and performing in countless prides up and down the country, Yvy has made a big impression on the drag community. Today we chat how she found developing her drag over lockdown, finding a local queer community, and how queer venues should be catering to drag artists in the future. And because I'm a complete idiot, I forgot to ask Yvy what her favourite cuppa was. Stupid, I know, it's Cuppa with Cake Boi and I can't even ask the first question right. But anyway, here's her favourite cuppa. It's so cute! And as she always says, she likes her coffee like she likes her magic. Dark, with a little bit of sugar. I start by asking Yvy how she's found the past year expressing and developing her drag through an online platform.
It was really daunting because I did my very first performance at Glitterfy. Shout out to Misty and Glitter. And that's where I saw you perform for the first time and was blown away and everything like that. And to be fair, it all stemmed from a really horrific incident that happened to me at Tribeca earlier that year. And as a result, I was kind of looking for my place in the world, because people don't really understand or really get that even though I had gone through everything that I've gone through already, because I went through it back in the day where there wasn't really much of a visible community as such. I did everything on my own, which was completely fine, and it built me up to who I am today. But I then realized that I don't actually have a queer family, like, at all. I was really shocked at the revelation when I realized that I actually don't really know any trans people in Manchester. And I'm like, how did that happen? Because, like, I'm Yvy, I know what I'm like. It's like, how did that actually happen? But when I tried to inject myself into certain places, it just didn't work, because people just didn't feel that I was the right type of trans person or the right skin color, and everything like that. And then I went to Glitterfy and I just saw all these incredible monsters who were just out of this world. And I was just absolutely blown away by it. Like, you can be glamour, you can be horror, you can be alternative, you can do all those type of things and still be celebrated for what you do. So then when I created the Bollywitch, it was very much me taking something that I was told when I was younger, that, oh, you can't be queer and Indian, or you can't be trans in this Muslim family. You can't have any of that. It's either one or the other. So because I chose to be trans, as a lot of people where I'm from actually think, it was almost as if it was like a trade-off. And I ended up distancing myself from my Indian heritage, because I just thought, well, they don't want me, so there's not much point me really kind of understanding my Indian heritage. And the older I got, the more I realized, like, why am I missing out on the beauty that is being Indian? And, all of that culture, why am I missing out on that just because I dare to be who I am? And then, because I am a witch, I realized that I could just create something really artistic that I hadn't really seen. And if I had seen it back in the day, I would have loved it and been really inspired by it. And that's where the Bollywitch came about. And it was actually supposed to have only been a one-time gig at Glitterfy. I just thought, let me just do like the bucket list, let me just tick that off and go, you know what, at least I can say I did it. I got up on stage, I did a Bollywood number in front of a bunch of people that wouldn't have a clue what that was, like what the song was, and nothing. And I can just prove to myself that I can do it. And when I did it, I don't think anyone can explain how it feels to be on stage and to hear people receive you so well. Um, it was so exhilarating. And then that's when I started to realize, like, people would say, oh, so you're the Bollywitch, like, oh, would you like to do this? And then all these things started happening. And then I was like, okay, create some digital work because I'm very creative, but I've just never really had the outlet to do it. I'm like, what's the point in making something for what exactly? And then it just grew from there. And I'm so proud of like all the different performances that I've done. And, you know, even when it comes to like doing shows that don't really have many people of color in them, and you know, people kind of say, oh, why are you doing that? There's only white people in that, or there's only white passing people in that. And it's like, well, I'm going to do this show because I want to show people that I have every right to take up as much space as anybody else in the show, and I'm going to do it. And the fact that I've done that, it's really blossomed, and I've been able to meet some incredible artists such as yourself and really connect with people in a way that I probably would have never have done if I hadn't have done this. I do hope that digital content still continues, because I think it's really given us the opportunity to introduce ourselves to a lot more people that wouldn't even know. And I think moving forward, hopefully, you know, things will start to die down and we'll be able to perform live, because I would love to get back to performing live again, because I've only done it twice, and I would love to do it more. And I think that would be absolutely amazing. But I think digital content would also be really great as well, because we can really go all out creatively and do things that we probably won't be able to do live.
And what sort of things from this sort of digital run do you think we should sort of be thinking about and taking forward into sort of the real world?
Mm. I think we should be a lot more inclusive of queer people of color in shows now. I think, especially when it comes to South Asian people, also, you know, non-binary, trans. You know, I'm a trans woman and I'm a drag performer and everything like that. And I was surprised before the pandemic how much resistance I was getting from people. And they were just kind of like, we don't know where to put you, so no. And it was a real blow, because it was, do I really need to perform Ariana Grande and Miley Cyrus and all of that in order to get into a place? No judgment or anything like that for anyone who does, because that's all great. But for me, I wanted to bring something to the table that no one had ever seen, and not just be the butt of the joke. Because what I kind of noticed, that a lot of South Asian drag and South Asian performers, again, no judgment, and I think it's completely great, but I wanted to do something that they weren't doing, which is I didn't want to kind of become a parody of myself. I think a lot of the times, and you see it in television a lot as well, like, you know, with soap operas and all that kind of stuff, when an Asian family comes in, they're always kind of the comedic relief, you know, and they're always talking like this, and oh my god, and it's like it's very that. um and like stuff like Citizen Khan and all that, and it's kind of like, I think we've grown a little bit more since Goodness Gracious Me. It's like we're in a different time now, and it's like we don't always have to be the butt of the joke. And of course people want to be funny and everything like that, and I think it's great. And I think a lot of South Asian performers now, they're kind of reclaiming that and doing more in jokes, where it's not necessarily to please a white audience, but more to kind of bring in their culture in a way that other South Asian people can understand and everything like that. And I think that's great. But we can also bring some real culture to the art of drag and the art of queer performance. And that should be seen. And I tested the waters with digital cabarets and like United Queens and all of that. And it's been received so well. Like people really love what I do. And that just goes to show that there's plenty of room. There's absolutely more than enough room for queer people of colour to be on stage. We should be occupying more stages. And I hope that really happens.
Being a community that has suffered hardship and that has had to find family elsewhere for a lot of people, it's mad that that first port of call isn't to open up to that new culture, to those cultures that, like, you know, that created these stages in the first place. You know, it's like thanks to Black trans women that we have stages to perform and to express ourselves and be who we are. So it's so mad that there's this sort of hypocrisy, and like you say, that kind of like, oh, we don't know where you fit is such a common thing, which is awful when drag isn't about that. It's become that, but it's become identifiable and very like drag is this, this, and this because of, I think, larger sort of representation in the media on TV and stuff. But drag isn't that. Drag is so much more than that. Drag is about constantly questioning, about constantly expressing.
And that's why with what I do with performing and being an author, it's my way of putting my story and my art out there for people to see and understand. And I'm not hiding behind anything, and I want people to see just how amazing, you know, I am, and kind of go from there. And next year, I've got so many plans on what I want to do moving forward, and I'm really excited about it because I know now that this year I've really worked my ass off to kind of let people know who I am and take advantage of spaces and, you know, shows and everything like that where I can inject myself and say, you know what, you're going to see what I have to offer. Like, you're going to see this because you're already going to get some amazing performers that can, you know, death drop the house down and, you know, do amazing performances to like Little Mix, all that kind of stuff. And I thoroughly enjoy that type of stuff because just because I don't want to do that doesn't mean I can't appreciate and love someone else doing it. But then it's just vice versa, where someone else might be doing stuff like that and then they see what I do and go, that is amazing, and everything like that. So there's enough room to have a nice mixture. If we just keep doing the same thing over and over again, it kind of gets a bit boring after a while. People need to stop being so resistant to alternative drag and like really start kind of acknowledging that, you know, you don't need to have all the bells and whistles and the perfectly laced front wig and the perfect fan and you know, the cinched body with killer legs and all that. You know, sometimes you can actually create some really, really great art and it blow you away because it's something.
And it doesn't need to be labeled as alternative, because that's another thing. It's like, I don't, oh, it's alternative drag. It's like, what is drag then if it's not?
It's like, at the end of the day, it's all drag. And it, you know, I don't really see myself as alternative per se. I just kind of see myself as just like a queer artist. And I honestly, I think that, and this is I'm gonna be talking about this in a video blog that I'll be doing in the future. You know, I honestly believe that the term drag is slowly becoming obsolete because I just feel like it's not even like drag now. It's more queer art, because when people think of drag, they immediately think of a cis gay male doing drag and performing and everything like that. You know, and all I see is that meme of that little girl going, "Are you a drag queen? Can you do this? Oh my god, hey queen hunty, snatch my wig." Yeah, that.
Boots the house down, mama. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it just kind of reminds me of that. So, but when we look at it now, you know, the art of performing is so queer now, and it's so kind of nondescript when it comes to who can perform and everything like that. There's just a lot of pushback from people who don't want to see it progress, and if you're not willing to let it progress, you're just kind of going to be stuck while moving forward. And then that way alternative can also be a completely obsolete term, and we can just say, yeah, I do performance art, and that is completely valid compared to anyone else who wants to, you know, do whatever they want, you know, drag queen bingo and all that kind of stuff. It's all the same thing. I think people just need to kind of like chill out when it comes to performance. And if it's not for you, that's fine. Look away, because there's plenty of people already looking at me anyway.
Yes, no, totally. And I hope to see that with physical performance spaces, particularly Manchester. Like Canal Street's obviously, I mean, there's a whole kettle of fish, I feel, but like Manchester Canal Street is very particular about who it books, who's on stage, what's on stage. Obviously, because it's very commodified, they have a lot of straight hen parties, that and the other, that I feel do expect a certain type of drag. I don't want to say like the older generation, because I feel like that's not fair, and that's me generalizing, but there are a lot of older clubs, I feel, not just Manchester but all across sort of the UK, where it's very set in their ways, because maybe it makes money, doesn't it? So
there should be a big shift, because at the end of the day, there's so much kind of need for performances that are completely out of the box, that shock people, that get people thinking, that get their gears grinding and everything like that. I'm all for, when you're in Thompson's and you're absolutely plastered and all that, drinking the stripper, wallpaper stripper that they call vodka and all that. Love it because it's cheap as shit. The Destiny's Child medley comes on. Of course, I'm going to sing every single song. Like that, just, so that will always be like gets the audiences going and everything like that. But I also love, especially when I did my first Bollywitch performance at Glitterfy, I loved the fact that even before I started, I knew that the audience had no idea what was in store for them. And then when I started performing, they had no clue what the song was. And then at the end, I had people in the audience going, I was trying to record the song to find out what it is. What is that song? Oh my God, it's amazing. What is it? And then I'm like telling people what it is. And I'm like, let me spell it out for you because you won't know how to spell it. And I'm like doing all of that. So it's like, there is definitely, a need for arts that people aren't expecting, because they're already going to get the stuff that they're already expecting. So I think what we really need to see now is shows in the village and everything like that to start kind of opening up to other people and not fearing the unknown, because that's basically what it is. It's they're fearing what's going to walk through the door, or that's going to make money and all. It's like, listen, the people are already there. They're not going anywhere. And we're not saying take everyone out and bring brand new people in and turn it into something completely different. No, we're just saying show people that you are, open to make room for everyone, not just the same. Yeah, that's
you will attract a larger audience. Like if you not pander, sorry, that's not the right word, but if you open your doors to everyone on stage, you will open your doors on the front door. This is a really weird metaphor I'm going for, but you will to everyone. And I don't see how that's not, like you say, I think it's that fear though. It's that fear, because unfortunately there's someone who's going to be like, oh, that's not what I think drag is. I don't like that. No. And
people say to me like, oh, you should do like that Asian club night that they do in town and all that. I'm like, but I don't want to just have to like perform at Asian night. Like, why does night? Why can't it just be an actual night that go and perform and people can enjoy it and everything like that? It's like, it shouldn't have to be that way. And I'm really excited to see how things move forward next year, especially when things kind of, and that's another thing as well. I'll be really intrigued to see if I actually hear from anybody next year, because I do hear from people who say, oh, like, we'd love you to perform in this and all that kind of stuff, but let's hope that they put their money where their mouth is. Certain events, including big prides, where I've actually turned it down, because what has happened is certain things have kind of transpired. I've been tokenized, and I have kind of had to say, you know what, no, I'm going to take a stand, and I'm not going to do it, and I'm not going to do this, and I'm not going to do that. And we're doing real talk, aren't we? I'm not going to mince my words now. I'm just going to say it. But like this year, I've been involved in like quite a few different prides and all that kind of stuff, like smaller prides. And it's been great, because I love to get involved and everything like that. But it's quite disappointing that some of the larger prides, including Manchester Pride, just didn't bother with me whatsoever. And it's not because they didn't know who I was or anything like that. And it's kind of like, you don't always have to just go with the same people over and over again. I get that they are kind of more of a celebrity status, I would say, as far as like performance and everything like that. I get that. But you're trying to tell me there's absolutely no room to give way to people that could really bring something new to it, and really bring something fantastic to Pride. So I really hope that next year I kind of get to see, even if it's not me, like more people who don't usually get booked, getting booked. That's what I would see.
It will be, I think, you've made a really fair point there with big prides. sort of next year, and with small prides, with all events, to be honest, because it obviously it's been like, you know, the justification is it's easier this year because they can book everyone, because it's like they can do it all digital and whatnot and physically. But yeah, to actually put their money where their mouth is, and with obviously the political sort of things with the BLM movement and all that's been happening this year, I think there's been a real sense of companies taking, well, not taking accountability, but being held to account. And next year will be, if we're able to be in person next year, let's hope, there is that still ability to hold them to account, and if not that, but to be listened to. What have you learned sort of over the past year?
I've definitely learned that I shouldn't be so hard on myself just because other people are at a certain level of drag and I'm not. I think when I first started, when I did my first performance, like I even now, I mean, I don't really know much about makeup.
Me neither.
I remember earlier this year, I did a really great performance, like with UV lights and everything like that. And I love the performance and everything like that, but there's a segment in the video. It's like a 7-minute video. There's a segment in the video where I'm wearing like a frizzy rainbow colored wig that lit up when I put the UV light on it, and it was a lace front wig that I spent a ton of money on, and I only did it because someone said, "Oh, your wigs look a bit like not good. You really need to be buying lace front wigs." And I bought it and I put it on my credit card and all that kind of stuff. And when I look back now, I just kind of think, why did I do that? Like, why did I succumb to somebody else kind of saying, yeah, you should do more lace front? And I got the lace front. I didn't know what to do with it. Right. I didn't realize that the lace front is like this big when you buy it.
Is
right?
it? I've never bought one.
Yeah. The lace front's like right down here. And then I'm like, am I supposed to cut this? But then I'm like cutting it. And I'm like Shangela when she made that horrible country outfit, like that. And then I put it on my head and I'm like, oh my God, it's not even straight. There's like jagged bits. Do I glue? I don't have any glue. Am I supposed to glue it? But I don't have anything to glue it with. Do I just use that Pritt stick or whatever? I had no idea. So I didn't glue it down. It looked a hot mess. I didn't know how to style it. You could kind of see the, you know, this hair coming out of it. I was like, no. And then it was all because I just felt insecure. And the moment I let that go, I just felt more like myself. And I suddenly realized that actually the people that are saying this to me are the people who are so stuck in their ways. I think it's great if people are really kind of polished and they can do really, really great work and everything like that. And, you know, I see myself as like just a person who wants to just create my own version of art and put it out there and kind of go from there. And the moment I did that, the moment everything just started to fit into place and I just started creating really great art for myself. And then I just went from there. And I think that's just what matters, is if it makes you happy to make that, if it makes you happy, then that's all that really matters. I think because everything has moved digitally, and before that everything was very Instagram and everything like that, it can feel like, oh, because it's not got more than 11 likes, it doesn't matter, it's not valid. And you know, you look at somebody else who might not be doing something as more creative as you, but they're getting thousands of likes and loads of followers. It's a really vicious circle to kind of get spun around by all of that.
Like, I don't know about you, but for me anyway, there's so many times, you know, you just sort of scroll in and you see these artists doing this, that and the other, and you kind of absorb that and internalize that. And then the amount of times I've gone to do a look and I've been like, tried to do something they've done and not quite got it the same way as them, and I'm like, and it's really frustrating. But then you have to sort of be the bigger person. You have to let that go and just sort of just allow yourself to make those errors.
I'm really careful who I follow and everything like that.
Oh, really?
I am, because I've come across quite a few people who have a problem with me for some reason,
Right.
especially people that I've not met, which is a bit odd. B, I've come across quite a few people who see what I do and then try and tokenize it. And I don't have time for people like that. And then there are times where I do catch myself, like you say, like kind of feeling a bit lesser than someone else because they're at a certain level and I'm not, or I can't quite do what they do and everything like that. And I have to try and just not necessarily kind of think, oh, I'm not even going to bother with you anymore. It's like, no, maybe I just need to like stop looking at what everyone else is doing, because sometimes what happens is that embeds in your brain and then you try and mimic it. And that's what I've kind of taught myself not to do. And now I can really appreciate what people do. It's like, and if I appreciate what people do, instead of thinking, oh, I want to do what they do, it's like, actually, I want to celebrate what they do. But yeah, it's really important to make sure that you just stick to your own authenticity, and look at what you want to create, like look at side and look at what you want to actually bring to fruition and just do it. As far as kind of what we do, what I do, what you do and everything like that, it's like the world needs more art. And you know what I mean? It's like
always does.
The world will be a much better place if people just embrace more art. So start embracing, because we know you like.
Because we're here and we're gonna you are gonna embrace us no matter what. If you could be in a venue now of your choice and there was a specific song playing, where would it be and what would the song be?
Okay. In this very moment, I don't know why, but I would love to be with you upstairs in Thompson's. And we're like sitting, like, you know, we're just relaxing, you know, like where the big dance floor is.
Yeah.
Everyone is going crazy because they're playing like really cheesy, like Pizza Hut, Kentucky bullshit. And then all out of nowhere, I go and give a recommendation to the DJ thinking they're not going to do it. And then we're just sitting there absolutely tanked, drinking shot after shot after shot. And then all of a sudden, Don't Cry Out Loud by Melissa Manchester comes on. We both just kind of lose it. And then we just, everyone else around is just kind of going, don't cry out loud, just keep it inside. Yeah, we do all that. Something completely out of like, we're here to like give some culture.
We're here to perform. And Thompson's needs more culture. Let's be honest.
They're gonna get like Ariana Mega Mix, and then we do like a dramatic monologue from Hamlet or something like that.
Fake blood, everything.
And that's the end of the second episode. I was so glad to get Yvy on the show. She's honestly such a ray of light, and I'm always excited to see what she does next. Looking to the future, I hope to see Yvy's premonitions come true. Pride's putting their money where their mouth is and hiring more people of colour for their stages. You can follow Yvy at Yvy World on Instagram, the link's in the bio below, and you can also find her book Tainted Beauty on Amazon. It's a 5-star read. So thank you for listening. This has been Cuppa with Cake Boi, and I'll see you next week for another episode. Music by Joseph Conway, and this episode was funded by Superbia.